it is very sad that the Kenyan community has lost yet another young Kenyan, a promising Kenyan.
The recent death of a Kenyan, which happened here in this hospital in Marietta, a few kilometers from the city of Atlanta, has rekindled debate over whether the Kenyan community here is as close-knit as previously thought. It also raises questions over whether it's a good idea for Kenyans to keep to themselves and whether those who isolate themselves are justified to claim neglect when faced with misfortune. Now, this is one of those topics that most Kenyans out here do not want to discuss, and when they do so in harsh tones or in whispers.
There is a lot of people who have ended up killing themselves. Others have even departed, gone home, and others, some of them have decided life is no more. They just live in the streets. I've seen some of the Kenyans here who are living in the streets.
Alfred Mugo Kimonye came to the U.S. in 1996, went to one of the best colleges here, Kennesaw State University, and excelled, graduating with a bachelor's degree in information technology. Some of his former classmates and people who knew him well but who did not wish to appear on camera say that he got a well-paying job with Apple Corporation, a prestigious U.S. computer software company. All was well until he had a run-in with the law, losing everything, including his own identity. Without a job and with little hope of ever getting back on his feet, Mugo sank into depression, ending up homeless here in Marietta, Georgia. He lived here in this neighborhood together with other homeless persons. In fact, it was from this street that he was taken to hospital when he fell ill. He had contracted lung infection and was rushed to hospital, where he died later. The question now is whether the Kenyan community here could have done something, anything, to help him and others.
As much as possible, we need to interact with Kenyans in any event so that you get to know one another. And in that way, you will not be asking ourselves, who is this guy or where does he go to church? The thing is, we have a very huge Kenyan community here in the U.S., and particularly where this guy used to stay.
Yet his case is not isolated. Recently, we reported of another Kenyan, Timothy Majanja Rukalia, who is living in deplorable conditions on another side of town.
I am just, I thought I was strong enough, but it's coming to a point where I need help.
2 years ago, we reported of another Kenyan who died after plunging into this river in Boston, Massachusetts. Last May, the Kenyan community here raised funds to help a Kenyan who lived in this forest in Decatur, Georgia, to travel back home. And the list is long. In fact, many are the cases which do not get reported because of the stigma associated with homelessness. Timothy Sodera, a Kenyan professor based here, has worked in many U.S. cities and has been observing the trends of immigrant communities.
There's a lot of stress, there's a lot of work, there's a lot of things that are pressing, taxes, bills every time. So that's why most of the people end up messing and killing themselves. They cannot stand the pressure.
Do you think what many Kenyans out there think America is what it is?
Absolutely no. That's not the way it is. Because there are many challenges which we don't know. When when somebody is telling you about America, you think about New York, you think about Los Angeles, you think about Atlanta. But let me tell you, it's not the way that people think. When you come here, when you land, that's when you realize, oh my goodness, that is the opposite of the way I was thinking about. Especially your first 1 year, it's really a challenge living abroad. Imagine you're coming to a country where you are new, you don't know anything, life is fast 24 hours, and so you got to change. So some people have come here, they think that, they were thinking they're going to get all the money, but all of a sudden it changes, and so they decide to go back home because they can't stand the stress. Others have gone up suffering, others are developing some physical health problems.
But does this in itself mean that no good can come out of the diaspora?
You can become whatever you want to become here in America.
So you are saying that there are people who have come here and they have made it, yet there are others who have tried and it didn't work for them. Is it just like any other society?
No, correct. That is very good. Some of them, they've come here, they gave up.
Well, it is not all gloom in the Kenyan community here in the U.S. or in the diaspora, because we have people who are doing very well. Some people are doing well in businesses, others are doing well in the corporate market. And the picture depicted out there is totally wrong. This is the picture that people need to put in their minds, that it is okay, it's not as bad as it seems. These things happen anywhere. They can happen anywhere, in Kenya or in any other country.
I'm an example, and many others are examples of people who have succeeded here. So there is a lot of success, but as I said, you got to work hard, you got to go to school, you got to change your lifestyle.
Every time something happens, like a misfortune or any newsworthy item that happens, it has to be covered by the media. And when it goes out there, people do not understand the situation on the ground. And that's when the media comes in to try and inform the public on the happenings on the ground. And they're doing a very good job on that. They raise the people's awareness, and we are happy about that.
Now, even as the Kenyan community here meets in order to raise funds to take Mr. Mugo's body home to Kenya, the big question is it high time that Kenyans in the diaspora were sensitized on the need to belong to the community? BMJ Mridhi, NTV, Atlanta.